Blood, sweat, and steel. This 58 Impala behind me has effectively been the hardest build of my life. I've done the award-winning candy paint jobs. I've done the graphics and pinstriping. I've done high-end restorations that were nowhere near as much work as this. And I've done the show cars. I've done a lot of stuff. I've done wiring. I've done full builds. I've done a ton of stuff, but nothing could prepare me for the amount and sheer skill that I had to use on this 1958 Impala convertible behind me. When I say I've done full restorations, it's true. But a lot of the cars that I would take in or that I've gotten so far up until this point have been maybe 10 major repairs. The last car I think I did maybe had 2 major structural repair or 3 major structural repair sections that I had to do, but it wasn't the amount that this thing had as far as work is concerned. This thing had a monstrous amount of work. I mean, thousands and thousands of hours in repair and straightening and getting things back in order as far as alignment. Not only that, I had to dissect repairs where they overlapped. Just put it this way, when somebody else does a shit job on something and you have to go back and repair it, it takes twice the time. And not only that, a lot of the stuff on this car I had to dissect and be real careful about not totally destroying it while taking it off because I had to reuse it. And with that being said, I want to give you 10 reasons why you should finish those overwhelming, huge projects that seem like they're never going to get done, no matter what. Number 1 is going to have to be personal growth. I think these big projects, just by default, when you get through with one and you thought it was going to be impossible or it was just hard going the whole time, it wasn't easy. They build resilience, they build discipline, and one of the main things is you get to use your problem-solving skills to figure out the hard things. So personal growth is going to be the first one. Back in the day, I would get a job, and if it was hard, it would take me forever to finish it. I remember specifically this one time, this lowrider came in. It was like a 81 or 83 in there somewhere, Cadillac Coupe de Ville, and I painted it candy, and I had my buddy Rico's Pinstriping from Merced come in and put graphics on it, and I re-cleared it and added some graphics or something to it, and boom, I had a lowrider. But the guy brought me the material, so he brought me some of that diamond clear from PPG, and I had never used it before. It was like in the 90s or early 2000s, and oh my goodness, that clear got so hard that I could not for the life of it bring it back to a shine after I sanded it. And I remember that it eventually got done, but it took me forever to just polish out this car that I had just painted. And that was indicative of what I would do, because I would just pick up tools, work on that project for a little bit, and then give up and then go fuck off, basically. So being able to now focus on these long, hard projects. I've been on this thing for 1.5 years, and believe me, there was plenty of times when I wanted to like say, F this, I'm done. I'm gonna go do something else. I'll go paint bumpers or go do collision repair somewhere. And I obviously didn't do that because I'm here to tell the story of how this thing is getting done. Number 2 is gonna be sense of accomplishment. Nothing feels better than when you're all done with that what seemed like impossible task, and you're looking at it and it's done. And especially for these cars, you know, I've done these big expensive projects before, and I've took them to show, and man, people just want to shake your hand and they just want to be around you and be in your presence because you created this thing. And the feeling of that even though it strokes your ego a little bit. The feeling of that is kind of unbeatable or priceless. And just the feeling you get whenever you see that thing that was such a hard task done, there's just nothing that beats that. Number 3 is going to be, you're going to open up the door to more opportunities. When people see that you can get done with the hard projects and that you can follow through with what you said you were going to do, they want to work with you, because there is not a lot of people out there in this world these days that can follow through on what they said they wanted to do, or what they said they were going to do. So number 3 is going to be opening up doors and opportunities. Number 4 is going to be, it builds confidence. All the hard things that I did over the years in these last 3 decades set me up for building this car. I would have never been able to do this car in the past. I believe that you get the projects that you can finish in the right timing, because if I would have got this project 20 years ago, I would have even known where to start it or how to get it done. All the years of finishing the hard projects, the going got tough, you got it done regardless, built up the confidence for me to know that I could even do this project. Number 5 is going to be, you avoid regret. There's so many jobs that I wish I would have finished, whether it be due to the customer coming to pick it up because they didn't like the time frame that was happening while I was working on the car, or whether it be me just not finishing the project because of lack of funds from the customer, or whatever the case may be. But there's so many jobs that I honestly wish that I would have finished when I had my shop. I closed my shop in 2023 to come and freelance for my customer here, to build some cars for him. I effectively had way too many irons in the fire at once when I had my shop. I didn't know how to manage my business right. It all came tumbling down. I wasn't able to finish a lot of projects that I wish I would have finished. But we're here now, and I'm doing this badass 1958 Impala convertible, and everything happens for a reason. Number 6 is going to be momentum for future success, because now that I've got the hard part done, I know for a fact that I can finish this thing and make it look amazing, because the hard part's done. I did all the hard work, and now I get to finish this thing, and I get to show my skills on my finish work. Number 7 is straight up, it separates you from the quitters. It puts you in a different category, whether you realize it or not. By finishing the hard or next to near or impossible jobs, it just raises your value to above what the average tech might be valued at, because it just puts you in a different category. I still have people reaching out all the time trying to get me to work on their cars or restore their cars. But right now I am backlogged probably 2 to 3 years or more if I decide to take on these jobs. So finishing the hard work just separates you from the pack. With that being said, number 8 is going to be, you're already invested. I've had plenty of people since I started my YouTube channel hitting me up in my DM trying to get me to do work for them. This project has been very difficult. Difficult enough to the point where some days I was like, you know what? Am I going to be able to finish this thing? And I knew I could do it, but is the owner going to be willing to pay me for my time and know that he probably won't make a profit in the next maybe 5 years from what the value of what this car is to the price that it costs to finish it? So is he going to be able to withstand the sheer amount of hours that I'm going to have to put in this thing to make it right? And believe me, there was times whenever we went rounds, or he probably thought I couldn't finish it, and I probably seemed a little unsure, or when he would ask me, I didn't know. I've never done anything like this, so how would I know? But I was already invested. I'm invested in this project. I want to see it done. I want to see it driving down the boulevard and looking amazing. Number 9 is going to be, regardless of if they say it or not, or they show it or not, you inspire others by your actions. Period. So when you do the hard work and when you conquer those next to near impossible tasks, it shows others that they can do it too. I remember back in the day, I painted this Cadillac for a customer, and one of my friends comes in and he starts looking at the car and walking around it, and like doesn't even say hi to me, walks right past me into my shop, starts looking at this graphic job that I did in this car. He looks up at me and he's like, damn, this thing looks great. He's like, at first when you posted it online, I didn't know if you knew what you were doing. You know what? I could have took it as like, you know, you're hating on my work right now. But in my mind, I'm like, you know what? That's cool. At least you come in and you recognize that, yeah, I do know what I'm doing. I do know what I'm talking about whenever I post these things online, or, you know, I am who I say I am. And in a roundabout way, after that, he showed so much respect for me and was inspired. And that's what I truly believe. And number 10 is going to be that you just show yourself and the world that you're built different. You show everybody, and mainly yourself, because who cares about everybody else? You show yourself that you can endure the difficult tasks and that you can get through them, and you can problem solve, and you can be innovative enough to finish those overwhelming, near impossible tasks. I've never put an LS motor in a car before, and my buddy just did one. And, you know, for some reason, you have these, no matter what you do, you have these blocks, these mental blocks in your head, and you're like, well, can I really figure it out or do it or whatever? And I've done plenty of motor installs before on carbureted cars, small block Chevys, what have you. But you have these mental blocks, and I'm like, you know what? Like, there's nothing that I can't do at this point in my head. I've never chopped the top on a car, but I know that I can do it because I've done the hard things. I've problem solved. I've overcame. So there's a lot of things that I haven't done, but I know that I can do. With that being said, I'm going to end this video right here. If you like the content and you want to see more, watch this video on how much it costs to build a lowrider. All right, I'm out. Peace out.